One of the issues this car has is this cluster cover is really faded. It's been like that for a few years now. I'm not sure if someone used something wrong on here. Kind of reminds me of like those headlight fogging that a lot of people run into. I'm going to try to take this out and buff it up a little bit with some sandpaper and rubbing compound. The car does have 100,000 something miles now, so it's probably just a lot of sun fading over time. The process I'm going to explain applies to headlights as well. Since this is a DIY channel, I wanted to make some comments on that. For many years, I did the typical process of doing sanding, starting with low grit, moving all the way up to 1,000, 2,000. Did the rubbing compound. What would happen is that it would last for maybe a year, and then it would just start fogging up again. But as I'll show you later, the secret was putting some clear coat after the final sanding to fill in those little scratches. Without clear coat, the sun will just keep beating on it. Even with wax dries up over time, and unless you're very meticulous about that, which most people aren't, you'll have the same problem year after year after year. So this has been about 2 or 3 years now since I did the last treatment on this headlight, and it's definitely lasted a lot longer. So we're going to use the same process on the instrument cluster. To start, there's just 2 screws holding in this bezel. Try not to lose those. Then just be brave, yank that out. There's 2 screws here, one on each side and one on the bottom. So you have to pop out the ACD and meter controls here in order for the gauge cluster to clear out. You wiggle the left side out first, then the right side. Then comes the fun part of getting the connectors in the back. They don't just pull out. You're gonna have to use either a really thin screwdriver head, or if this fits, I've had good luck with these hose clamp pliers. But just be careful, and the hardest part is trying to do it without getting cut. Okay, so that came out. There was 2 connectors, one on each side. I had better luck taking out the connector on the right first, and then taking out the one on the left after that. The one on the left was a lot harder for me to get out. Again, there's a tab, don't break that, and don't break the wires. From my experience, this only works on the outside of headlights, so I'll use that same train of thought doing this. I know for headlight lenses, many times when you try to fix the inside, you'll make it even worse. The inside of those lenses are really sensitive, for lack of a better word. It doesn't take much to leave micro scratches. Okay, so I lied. In my case, it was easier to just take off this clear plastic, and honestly, the inside looks kind of rough as well. If I break it, I'll just try to find another piece, but whatever. It's just held in by 3 clips on the top, 2 on the bottom. I'm not gonna show that, but it comes off really easily. From Amazon, I just got a pack of sandpaper, which ranges from 120 to 3,000. For a situation like this, if your headlight is not too bad, I usually start with 600 and work my way up. If it's really bad, I have gone as low as 320, 400 grit for the typical cloudy headlights. And if it's really old headlights, like from the 80s or 90s, the ones where they're completely yellow and you can't even see through them, I've gone as low as 60 or 100 grit. But that's something you just have to experiment with. So I'm going to start with 600 on this one. I'm going to do wet sanding. I soak these in soapy water for a few minutes and then just go through it on both sides. I'm not going to use a sanding block here because it's curved. I haven't done the wet sanding yet. I just tried doing 600 dry first just to show you guys something. Even with this one, all those spots that were there before came off already. That's kind of what you want. Usually if those don't come out, that's usually a sign that it's time to go to a lower grit, but in my case, it seems to be good enough. Again, after you've done a few of these, you kind of know when to start and how low of a grit to start with. One hand, you don't want to go overboard, but at the same time, if you don't go low enough, once you finish, you're gonna have to do it all over again, which I know a lot of people don't want to do. And just do know that it's gonna look ugly until you finish, so this isn't really for the faint of heart. I know a lot of people freak out when we do these on the headlights. They think that we ruined it, but just be patient and it'll be fine. Be brave. So this is the product that I've had good luck with. These are just the 3M headlight clear coat. It looks like one of those moist towelettes. You can also use spray clear, but for most people, spraying is not that easy. There's a lot of orange peel. Then you gotta wet sand it again after. I just found with these, it's a lot easier. The only hard part is making sure that when you wipe it, you don't lay it on too heavy and then it runs and has drips. Once it dries, those will stay. It includes a 3000 sanding pad. I haven't done it yet, but honestly, even with that one, you're still gonna see some haze. Again, that's normal. This is the part that'll really start to freak some people out. Once you lay the clear coat on, it should be a lot better. I'm gonna do this inside because I don't want this drying up. This was actually taken from inside the house. It is 90 something degrees outside. The only thing that's been keeping me going is this fan. If you're wondering about this fan, I have a video up here. I would highly recommend it if you have a garage like this one. It's going to be around 100 degrees today, and as the sun goes over, the shingles heat up and it gets really hot in here. Yeah, so there's some imperfections. I think what happened was I didn't wipe it clean enough after I dried it. Maybe I should use a tack cloth, but there's a thumbprint, some smudges. In retrospect, I probably would have been better off spraying it, but it's too late now. So I'm just gonna take out the 2500, try to wet sand those ridges down a little bit, and then try to use some rubbing compound. And if that still doesn't work, looks like I gotta start over. But this just goes to show you that not all the DIY is always successful. Sometimes you gotta do it several times, learn from your mistakes. And here's one of them. Well, that was an epic fail. I made it even worse than how it was before. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with sanding again, all the way from the lowest grit. Probably start with 400 this time. And then instead of using the wipes, I'm going to use the spray. It is really hard to keep this clean on both sides while your fingers are touching it. I should have thought about that earlier. But again, we're here to make mistakes, learn, and stay tuned. So unfortunately, the 2K clear coat didn't really work for me either. It's not the clear coat's fault, it's my technique. I sprayed 7 or 8 layers on there, which is a lot. There was some orange peel. Tried knocking it down with 20, I think it was 1500, 2000 grit. Got the orange peel out, but couldn't really buff out the rest. It could be that you just have to use a machine polisher, which I don't have. I don't think you really do by hand. If you know body work or know someone who does or know something about this, let me know below. Again, it's a lot different outcome than my headlights. Maybe headlights are just easier. In my case, I just ended up getting another one of these, which I probably should have just done in the first place. It was cheaper. I think this was $25 shipped. I got this from Mitsubishi Parts Now. This is the second time I've bought something OEM from them. These parts are getting scarce now, so I would recommend them. I think the last time I bought from them it was for the floor mats. This is the part number. I'm gonna try really hard not to touch this, but you can see the difference already. Don't know how well you guys can see that, but wow, it makes the car so much newer in terms of appearance. Looks like it just came off of the showroom. So yeah, in retrospect, I should have just bought the new lens right away. But that just goes to show you guys that not every DIY is successful. That's just how it is. But we live and we learn. So hope someone found some joy in my mishap. But at the same time, we're all here to learn. Have a good day.